Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Ty Bancroft joined once again by Adam, as today we go over, well, Raditz taking on Frieza. Like always, just buttons, links, check them out. But let's get into the matchup. What's going on, Adam?
Rise against your oppressors.
Yeah, I actually thought about that earlier today, right before we got the chance to recording. I was like,
Yeah.
this is pretty much the Saiyans have revolted against Frieza. So you are playing, is it set 23 or 22? I can never remember what set these cards are
Uh,
sometimes.
I think it's 22.
Because
Yeah.
it wasn't the last one, right? It was two times ago.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm playing the new Frieza. So, little catch up for those who don't remember. Raditz is a blue deck that can kind of freely play Raditz cards, Nappas, or Vegetas as long as you
Mhm.
have the Z extra card Scouter out on the board.
Correct.
Um, and you kind of use that in advantage to kind of get those free plays, which kind of benefit you. And sometimes those cards can have additional effects that can proc, which is pretty nice. Like one could produce a token with revenge and blocker, which is kind
Mhm.
of scary in the wrong matchup.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest thing about Raditz is you get to peek your opponent's hand
Yeah, that's right.
constantly.
Little hand knowledge that goes a very far away, or a
Yeah.
long way. And I'm playing the new Frieza, which is the Scourge of Saiyans from Beyond Generations. And this is an interesting deck because once you've awakened, you have a permanent that once per turn, when choosing, sorry, my brain just froze. I thought the screen froze for a second. Uh, when choosing battle cards for the skill cost of Successor on a Frieza card in your hand, once per turn, you may choose any number of your opponent's battle cards as a mono green battle card. And unfortunately, it does say the term choose. So, like, if you have a card as barrier, I can't really pick it. But this is really good for cleanup purposes. And there are cards in this deck that will, with the Z Unison and a couple other cards, will allow you to manipulate the cost of your opponent's cards or even your own cards as well. So, for example, like some of the go-to, once you have two energy, and grant you have to have one green energy and one yellow energy, you want to charge the multicolored cards as much as possible. And obviously, I'm teching in the old Set 9 Anzillas to kind of help me with that as well. But the 10 drop Friezas also have ignored energy exhaustion as long as you have another yellow green card in your energy. So as long as you charge right on turn one, you should be good for the rest of the game. And the 3 drop Friezas that you play in this deck have an active main where you can pay 1 energy to play them, as long as you have the two energy. And then in activate main, you declare a number that's 3 or less, and you increase the energy cost of this card by that number, and the Z Unison will increase your opponent's costs by the number you call, which is also 3 or less. So you get some crazy combinations here, and it helps
Well,
out.
and you also get to play really big cards pretty early and without a whole
Correct.
lot of, without sacrificing your own cards, which is what Successor has traditionally been, known for, is getting rid of cards on your board to pay for that ability. But being able to do it on your opponent's turn or on your opponent's side is great.
And with the current meta, how like we have these 3 drops, 4 drops that play for 1 energy, it benefits this deck so much more because, like, if, for example, you. Now, I think that Raditz has
Mm-hmm.
barrier, but you have on board a 4 drop and a 3 drop. Like, I could pay 1 energy and play the 7 drop Frieza Transformation of Despair, which will draw me a card, so replace itself in its hand, removes your cards from your board, and then when your opponent plays a battle card, you may choose it and switch it to rest mode. If you do, negate the skill for the turn. So, like, if you play a card if you use, in your case, Chill's Reinforcement Army, and I have this card on the board, I'm like, cool, we'll just rest your blocker and attack at you again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So having that mix of like board removal and control is really good. And that's what green does, and that's what yellow does, but you put them together in this case, and this deck kind of just feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also have that energy marker too. So I mean, you can. I mean, I can imagine that's just gas from the
Yeah.
start.
Now, I didn't remind you in this match, and I'm not sure if it's in my hand yet, because you've already peeked my hand once. I might have it. Do I have cold blood? I think I have cold bloodlust in my hand
Yeah,
right now.
you did from the beginning. Mm-hmm.
There are moments where you're hesitant to play a card, And I just want to remind you, the Z energy is the same color as the leader. This is a green leader. So it's not a yellow energy. That energy is a green energy when it comes to spending it.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's a yellow marker, but it's a green energy.
Yeah. It's a gold marker, sir.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
So this cooler and there was a lot of like talks, like I think like 2 sets ago when we got rumors that they were bringing out Z Unison. It's like, oh man, so many things just gets rid of Unison so quickly. People can spam a board so large to take out a Unison. Green in its entirety could zap Unison's gone. But in a deck like this Unison only costs me 1 energy, and it could turn your 4 cost into a 7 cost, and I just got to pay 1 energy after that to remove your card and then play my card. And if you want to sack your attacks into my Unison, I'm perfectly fine with that because you're not attacking to my leader.
Yeah, absolutely. Lightning Rod is what you guys call it, right?
Yep. So I'm okay, and it's a plus. So normally it's a 5k, and if I play a yellow Frieza on my turn, or I think it's in general if I play a yellow Frieza, it gains 10k power, making it 15k. And obviously, once you lose a marker, all that stuff resets. So like, whoops. So there were moments where I had to like, I played a Frieza. I'm like, oh, I don't think it happened in this match. Oh no, it can't happen in this match because I can Spirit Boost to remove a marker from my Unison to combo a yellow-green card from my hand, because unfortunately, all of these cards, I think, except for the 10 drop, yeah, all of them but the 10 drop, I think, cost 1 to nope, the 10 drop is also a 1 10k combo. So like all these big Friezas, yeah, I'm checking them right now, are all a 1 cost 10k combo, and it's like really annoying when it's like, okay, well, I had to spend 2 energy to get this card on board, and now I'm in a situation where it's like, do I tap my energy marker, just get out of an attack because I'm not seeing my dormants right now? Or do I use the leader's ability to hurt my Unison that you're already lightning rodding? I want to save his attacks when you are attacking the Unison.
Yeah, and I play this Scouter a little bit wonky. In order to be able to get its effect, I have to play a card. So I did it a little ahead of the turn. So I should actually have played the Raditz first, activated Scouter, peeked your hand, and then played something that wasn't a Raditz, either a Vegeta or a Nappa. But I got my triggers messed up on that.
Oh, okay. We did talk about this before the match. You think you might have messed that order up. But I mean, I think you could play the Raditz for 1 energy anyway. Like, it didn't matter in that situation, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, and since we've already peaked it, I'm playing the new secret rare. Purunga, thank you.
Yep.
And you Cellmax, not Cellmax. Well, I mean, Cellmax could be a valuable target for this deck because it's a green 1 energy quad strike. Xeno Cell is a great target.
Yeah.
But I had the secret rare, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to I want to test this out. I want to see how this works, because that secret rare alone can make your opponent switch 3 cards to rest mode, can make you draw 3 cards and your opponent discard 3 cards, or you could choose one of your battle cards. Your opponent, I think it's worded, you choose one of your battle cards and one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and then you remove the rest of the cards from the board. So like it's just those one-on-one. So like it's good for getting rid of wide boards. But mainly I just wanted to mess with the energy or possibly cause people to discard cards when they had low hands.
Yeah, that's a lot of value. I mean, it can't attack, right? But it definitely. And is that like a once per turn, or you said that it goes away at the end of the turn, or?
Yeah, you pay 2 energy, activate main to play it. I can't remember. I'll have to pull it up real quick, but it has an activate main limit 3. So you only do its other effects 3 times. But the activate main for 2 energy, at the end of the turn, you remove it from the field, from the board.
Got it.
So this is an interesting interaction I want to kind of touch base on. So I don't know how interesting it would be, but I played the Goku. Goku has an auto, so I attack with it. It has an auto that goes off. When I attacked with the card, all your autos also go into pending that are on the board. But unfortunately, I was able to pop your blocker. Now, your Scouter allows you to play another card, which in this case you played Nappa, which played another token which has blocker, but that blocker never activated because it wasn't there when the actual attack went through. So I'm kind of able to bypass your blockers with this, which is great. Just kind of get that additional pressure onto you.
Yeah. And I felt really good kind of going through most of this match. I mean, one of the cool things about this Raditz deck is that, sorry for the squeak and my dog's freaking out. So one of the nice things about these Raditz, Nappas, and Vegetas is a lot of them are 16Ks, which are really kind of tough to get rid of unless you have removal for them.
Yeah.
I was able to get a lot of them out early, so I felt pretty good. But then, yeah, blue is not great at maintaining a lot of field pressure. And this was kind of, I think, one of the first forays into kind of a storm, an official storm kind of a deck with something that's more than a 15K. These 16Ks are nice and sticky.
So here, okay, so this entire game we are using this effect backwards then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it right at the beginning, but then then I got into a loop where I was like, oh, nope, we'll do it again, and I'll do it again.
There was a moment in this match where I'm like, oh, what is going on? Like, this is a lot of pressure. And I guess that's part of the reason.
Yeah, it could be, right?
I did get you to kind of backtrack a turn-ish. I did get you to use Hatch, which made me happy. The 8-drop blinked your blocker skills, and then the 8-drop itself is a dual attack crit. So like I kind of put you in a pinch. But now it's like, I have one open energy. I need to survive.
Yeah, and did you notice yourself throughout the night with a large hand size like you have here, or was that because I was putting a lot of pressure on early and getting you to take your life?
Most of the cards, like I said, right now in my deck are a 1 combo cost card.
10K, yeah.
And I say most of the card. Right now, I got to change the ratios because there are some cards like you've seen me combo off, I think already, is a Krillin, which is great when your opponent has no battle cards on the board. But if your opponent's able to constantly keep battle cards, it's just a combo fodder card. Like, there's no other reason for it. But I think my ratios are like, I think I play like 3 of all the Friezas right now, and then 4 of the 10-drop. And I definitely need to tweak those ratios because, like, I found never a moment where I wanted to play, I think it was the 5-drop, the 5 or even the 6-drop. And let's see here real quick. The 5-drop being once returned when this card attacks, use up to 1 of your. The 5 is great for recurring Z energy, and it is a dual attack, so like it's good for early, kind of like removing pressure from your opponent's board. But in most cases, I'm like, I want to play the 7 or 8 drops, man. Like those have like control factors to them, which is really good. But I am going to tweak the ratios because, like I said, after learning, like going through the ropes, I'm like, yeah, there are moments like I played against a U7 Gohan, and there are moments where like I need a combo, but I got nothing to combo with.
Yeah, and there's that's something that's interesting about when a new set comes out. Like I personally, I'm quite casual, so I don't start brewing until I get tired of the decks that I'm playing. But you're usually pretty up to date about what decks are coming out and making sure you get those new ones on the channel, which is great. But I played against Steve. He was playing Tapion. He was kind of testing out Tapion, and it's interesting when you have new decks because you have to kind of play what you know, and then just when that surprise thing happens, you have to just kind of deal with it, you know? So like, for instance, you being able to target my cards for your successor, that was not even on my radar. So I'm like, oh, great. I have cards on the deck, on the field all the time. Awesome. Feel free.
I would love to use this Unison Cooler to increase Hatch's cost to 10, but successor requires you to put the cards into the drop, and when secret rares leave the field, or cards will ultimately leave the field, they disappear. They don't go into the drop.
Wah, wah, wah.
So I had to find other ways to like try to remove this 40k beater you got now on the board. Something I haven't talked about yet because it hasn't happened in this match. I don't know if it actually does happen in this match, if we get an opportunity for it or not. There is a Z leader for this leader. And I know in my match with Steve, when he was playing U7, he was surprised by this, and I didn't get a chance to kind of throw this on you. But the Z leader's at 30k. So like,
Ooh.
I could have burnt. You need 2 Z energy for it, and then 1 green energy, and your leader has to just be green Frieza. But it's a 30k. Now you don't get anything on its attacks. It's an activate main. You draw 1, choose one of your green Frieza battle cards, and switch it to active mode. So you kind of want to do it with the 10 drop because the 10 drop's a dual attack double strike. So you swing twice of it, and then you activate the main, draw 1 card, restand that Frieza, and swing again, which is, I think it's a 30k, and that's a good amount of pressure. But like,
Jeez, fair and balanced.
Well, here's the balance to it though. At the end of the battle in which that card attacked, you have to place 2 of your Z energy into your drop. If you don't, you remove this card from the game. So it's like a last second kind of like, let me pay 1 energy. Like, and granted, the correct way of probably doing it is have a Z units on board, your opponent attacks your lead. You have to Spirit Boost 1 to combo 10k, then you Z Awaken, boom, that's 40k right there. And hopefully it gets you out of attack. And then at 30k, it's kind of like a hurdle for a lot of decks to kind of go over. And then you get the pass, and then you swing at this card, and then it falls off if you don't have the Z energy or if you don't want to do it. Because sometimes going back into that 10k combo is kind of nice if you Spirit Boost 1.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense why you would want to change some of those ratios, because it's really tough to charge a 1 cost 10k combo.
Yeah.
And if you want to keep that Z leader on board, you got to make sure you got some Z energy.
So establishing another Goku, just to try to apply pressure, and you manage just to stay alive with 1 life, and now you have a quote unquote, as you like to call it, another secret, which this unit in itself is definitely good. It is a 20k double strike that restands the energy, draws you a card, and then during your opponent's turn, you -1 to remove a card. So like, your opponent has to bait it out pretty much, bait out that -1. This negate here still cost me 1. I debate about doing it or not. I'm like, okay, this is tricky. But you did pay 4 for the unison, and then I'm at 2 life. I do feel comfortable enough to hopefully you can't do too much this turn now that you've already tapped out, like almost tapped out. So I go ahead and commit to it, which got rid of a card for you. And because I have the 7-drop freeze, I'm able to tap whatever card you or rest or whatever card you bring into the game. So okay, cool, I'm safe there. Now you still, like I said, you still have this double strike coming at me. I just gotta make sure I can combo out of this or have some other way of preventing it from happening. And we can see in my hand, I do have charismatic villains, so I was ready for like a secret overwhelm you might have had like ready to go or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when this is, I mean, I feel like I'm in kind of a tough spot. I have to go at least put a little bit of pressure, because you've got a book in your hand, and little do I know that a lot of those combos, are 1Ks or 10K 1 cost.
Yeah, and that was kind of like this whole game you had a kind of a low hand, and I had a very big hand. So I'm like you mentioned, you hadn't really looked into this deck fully yet, so you didn't have that knowledge. Like, damn, this guy has a book. Like, I know whatever I swing at him isn't going through, so I might as well just get rid of whatever cards I can get rid of and just hang on for a crackback,
Yeah, and there's a little bit of personal courtesy that I like to afford my opponent when I'm using that scouter. I'm not going to sit there and stare at your cards for 15 minutes trying to memorize everything when I look at your hand. I probably could have spent at least another 30 seconds looking at that combo power. But
for clarification, when we did put those down there, I was like one at a time, and I think at the end I was like, "Do you want to look at them?" And you're like, "I'm good." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
So here comes Puranga. The goal here is to tap down your 2 energy and then tap down your unison, or switch to rest mode. And then from here on out, just go for game.
Good plan.
And here I'm just double checking like, okay, what can he do? Nothing. All right, good. And obviously, I swing first with the 8 drop because then that's going to allow me to get rid of your utter blocker and force you to use your -1 now. Oh, yeah, I forgot you get to discard a card for it too. But yeah, then you use a -1 like I was hoping for. And because of the secret rare, you can't sparking negate anymore. So, like, you have to rely whatever's in your hand now.
Yeah, a lot of those negates that are able to play when you take a life are now useless because I'm at -life.
Yep. This also card on play draws you not on play. As part of the successor cost, you draw 2 cards, which in itself is great. And then you turn around like it's a dual attack, it's double strike. That's game, by the way.
Yep, good
uh,
match.
it has when this card's play, your opponent can't attack until the end of their until the end of their turn, unless they switch, something to act, something to rest mode. So it has that kind of negate control. But yeah, that's today's matchup. Thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, his buttons, links down below. Bye.